Metro trains near the Fort Totten Metro on the Red Line. The Red Line is shut down. We have confirmed one person has died in this collision, and at least 9 people are believed to be trapped.
That's their rescue folks.
Still get out now. We can tell you that that is their first priority right now, getting those folks to the hospital, getting them the triage, getting them what they need, and hoping that there aren't more lives lost in the wreckage there. They will begin the process of trying to figure out how this all happened at a later point. But again, this happened just north of the Fort Totten Metro Station near New Hampshire Avenue, not far from the Silver Spring line. So in addition to the DC EMS folks that are there, there are also folks from Montgomery County Fire and Rescue, a huge operation, Dave Statter, going on to try to get to these folks, get them safe, and figure out what happened here. Why don't you pick it up from there?
Well, one thing that we didn't talk about, you look at that picture, most important for these firefighters is they have to stabilize these trains. They have to get the heavy equipment in there, the ability to make sure that those trains don't move any further for 2 reasons. One, that they don't cause further injury to the people who are trapped, or that they collapse on top of the firefighters who are trying to make the rescue. So those trains are not in the most stable of position with one on top of another. So they will tie them down. They'll use various items that they have in their arsenal to make sure that those trains don't move any further as they conduct the rescue. You may recall the Chase train crash from many, many years ago. There were people trapped in that wreckage for like 14 hours. Hopefully that will not be the case here. But it's very difficult when these trains get on top of each other. There's a very narrow space in some cases for the firefighters to work, and there's a lot of twisted metal. If there are people trapped, they can be trapped for a long time. So that's something we should be aware of. When we looked at the bridge where Bruce was standing, at one point the camera zoomed in. There was a fire department command post on top. Outside that command post was D.C. Fire and EMS Chief Dennis Rubin, and I believe if I saw D.C. Police Department Chief, D.C. Police Chief Kathy Lanier. They will do what's called a joint operation. They'll make sure that they're coordinating everything that they're doing. That's how they work these days, to make sure the fire and police departments. You're looking inside one of the trains here, and you could see what is basically the control cab of one of the trains. That's not the lead car, so obviously that's not the part that they're focusing on right now for the extrication. Back to you.
Hey, Dave, in that video, can you tell whether it's the end of one train going into the front of another train, or is it literally on top of a car? What can you see?
It looks like one train went underneath the other train. One would guess it might have been head-on, but you don't know at this point. That would be just speculation. Obviously, they collided, and one went over top of the other. The best I can tell, and I'd like Bruce LeShan to confirm it, here you see somebody being brought out in a basket here. They stabilize that person, make sure they don't further aggravate their injuries.
Right.
That's why they're tied down this way. They now have to make sure they have the staff, the manpower to carry all these people out to the waiting ambulances and to the triage area. It appears from what Bruce was telling us, this is the south side of the New Hampshire Avenue Bridge. The triage area would be to your left, the north side of the New Hampshire Avenue Bridge.
Dave, you just mentioned Bruce LeShan. Bruce, why don't you pick it up from there and tell us what you know now?
Hey, Bruce. Yeah, Leslie, I could just tell you that we're seeing a great deal of activity, and another woman, according to Bill McKnight, was just taken off in a stretcher, so they apparently have gotten another woman out. There are people walking along the tracks who were banged up pretty good here, but are able to walk out from their own volition. This is a pretty steep hill. It goes down to the one train here, and then the other train is on the same track, and it's apparently headed this way. And according to one of the witnesses here, that other train simply went hit head-on to the train that you may be able to see just down through the trees here. And the train that's coming this way actually went underneath the other train. Again, some people able to walk out. They are continuing the operation to try and get folks out, and clearly not a particularly easy or good place to get people out. Bill McKnight tells me that he's seen one more person come out in a stretcher and another person walking out by themselves.
We've seen a couple people now kind of carried out arm in arm. One person went out in a stretcher a minute ago. Another person was kind of carried by 2 ambulance personnel. And everyone's kind of limping, walking slowly. Don't see any big injuries yet. But I am seeing a lot of people walking by at a slow pace, just looking like they've been through a lot.
Yeah, talked to one witness who said he was among the first kind of bystanders on the scene, and he saw a whole lot of people streaming out of the train, but none of them appeared to be hurt so badly that they needed help. Most of them were able to walk out, according to him. He didn't want to talk to me on camera, but was clearly a little bit shaken up by what's going on here. And I can look down and hand mic here, but again, there are still people down there that I can see just through the trees here who are trying to get out. And again, let's reiterate what we have, according to Candace Smith from the Metro Media Relations. Dozens injured, many walking wounded. 9 people, as of about 5 minutes ago, were trapped in the wreckage of these 2 trains, and she said that there was at least 1 fatality. So that's what we have. We'll continue to kind of keep an eye on things and see what's going on. I'm not sure exactly at this point where they're bringing people out, but we understand that there's a triage area on the north side of the bridge. This one train stretches all the way back up this way, and then the other train is coming from Maryland way, and it has apparently gone under this train that you may be able to see just through the trees here.
Bruce, that is actually our first confirmation we've gotten that the trains may have been going in opposite directions. If that is what you're hearing from witnesses, we could see clearly one on top of the other, but it was not clear up until this point in which direction they are traveling. That is what you're getting from eyewitnesses. There seemed to be a head-on collision.
Yeah, that's what the guy who says he was the first person on the scene here tells me. He's just riding off on his bike right over here. And he's going over to talk to the police, I think, but he says that he was the first guy on the scene, and it was pretty clear to him that they had been going in opposite directions on the same track. There do appear to be 2 tracks here, so I'm not exactly sure why they would be single tracking, but that's what he said he saw.
Hey, Bruce, do we know if there are folks still trapped?
At last report, which is maybe 5-10 minutes ago, we were told that there were still people trapped. Now, the director of the Metro is on the scene right here, and let me try and get up there and see if I can't get an interview, because he's briefing us right now on what's going on. So if you could go back to the station for just a second, back to the studio. Okay. I'm going to get up and try and get up in there, and we'll try and get the latest.
Thank you, Bruce. Sounds like he's trying to catch up with Metro's general manager, John Cato. Hey, Dave, tell us what you know so far. We were asking Bruce about whether the EMS personnel had gotten to all the people that were trapped.
Yeah, we don't have any information that they've gotten to all of them. I would imagine from having 1 fatality there, they were able to evaluate that. They have others probably nearby that are trapped. We're waiting for confirmation that they've gotten to those people. As you see, they're starting to bring some of those people out who were in the cars directly affected. Some they were able to carry out, some they brought out on in a basket to carry out. They're taking them all to that triage area to figure out who is the most seriously injured. Don't assume just because somebody is tied up that they have any kind of critical injury or anything like that. They try to not further their injury. So if they suspect there's a head injury or a neck injury, they're going to immobilize the person the best they can so as not to aggravate things. It may turn out that these people are just fine, but they may have banged their head. The idea is to try to make sure that they don't cause any further harm.
That's right, to keep the spine immobile and not cause any further damage if that is the case.